channel.
It must be.
Hi, this is Vivian Katz, and today in the Lafayette Parish Master Gardeners in the Garden program, we are going to be showing a variety of photos today that are currently blooming and will add value to your winter landscape. First up, we have a camellia. And we're going to have a whole series of camellias right now. An abutilon, excuse me, I can't read the writing. Abutilon, and we'll have several abutilons that tend, this is a, I can't do it
try
all.
to change the channel.
Do you want me to talk?
Yeah.
I can't talk and change the channel.
No, not you.
Scoot over that. See if I figure out how to change it. Okay, the next, this is the full-grown abutilon. It looks really nice in the landscape. Hummingbirds love this plant. Right now we have a acanthus, a bear's britches. This is a great plant for shade area. It sends up huge, up to 5-foot tall stalks of flowers, white flowers that are just lovely in a shady landscape when you have it. It does come in several sizes. This seems to be the most popular one and the best growing one. This is an allium. We can have this is an onion, and you can get onions in your garden, but you can also, if you love the flowers, plant them in your landscape and they'll make gorgeous, like firecracker shaped flowers. There's some asparagus fern, evergreen, lasts all winter. A winter blooming azalea is a lovely little Japanese variety that makes delicate pink flowers, and you'll find them that's blooming right now. We took this picture yesterday. Thank you. Oh, here we have a banana plant that was whacked to the ground, I'm sure. But if it keeps growing, it's just going to freeze right back down again anyway. But you can get actual bananas here in Lafayette, so that's something you can consider. Red begonia. An angel wing begonia with white flowers. I've only ever seen the pink and red flower one, so it's fun to see the white one when we took this picture. It won't last through the freeze. Here's an ilex, which is a holly, all the hollies are great for winter flowers and winter colors that are evergreen. The birds love them. There's a different holly. If you want birds in your yard, hollies are definitely the thing to get. This is a miscanthus. These giant grasses are nice in your landscape until they freeze, but they make wonderful plumage and value. Here's a blueberry bush. The blueberry bush, when the blueberries are all done, obviously brings excellent color to the fall and winter landscape. And as a note, you must have 2 different varieties of blueberries in your garden to get a good viable production of blueberries, but they do grow well and they like an acidic soil, so they grow well with azaleas and camellias. And a broccoli, which does grow well. It doesn't get the nice tight heads usually that many grocery store ones, but it gets very nice tasty broccoli florets on it, and it's another one you could obviously use in the landscape. It stays green all winter. That cold does not bother it in the least, and it's healthy too. The camellias, we have a few camellias that are great for winter landscaping. You'll see them around town. There's the sasanqua, which is the more native variety, and the sasanqua, how does that compare to the one's Japanese and one's what?
They usually bloom earlier, and the blooms are usually smaller.
Okay. And they're easier, they're more disease resistant.
Less disease resistant.
The sasanquas bloom, they have a more delicate flower, and they do better in resisting diseases in your yard. They usually make very nice hedges too. And there's a low-growing one that's lovely for a little short hedge in your yard.
Yeah, I find a lot of scale in my camellias.
So most of these pictures were taken out of the UL Horticulture Center, which is lovely grounds to just wander around on. They have all kinds of varieties. Most of them aren't labeled, but it's really fun to see the color They do well in shade, so if you have a fairly shady yard, this would be a lovely plant to put in for some fall and winter color.
And you can keep them in shrub size or tree size.
Right. The Japanese ones do tend to take a little bit more care, and they're a little bit more temperamental, but usually it's well worth it. And you don't have to pay too much attention unless you're in the Camellia Society and looking to show them.
Beautiful.
The way you show camellias in your house, since they don't have long stems, are usually just a beautiful little graceful bowl with some water in it, and they're short stems, and they kind of float around on top, and it makes lovely side decorations. They're also used in Japanese flower design. Look at that white lacy thing. That's a lovely flower.
It's the same with you.
Another Sasanqua. Another camellia. Are their leaves different, Lois? Can you tell them different?
The Sasanquas are usually smaller, and whereas
The leaf is smaller, right?
And the japonica leaf is broader and a much bigger leaf.
Okay.
That's one way to tell.
Okay. Carrots. Yum yum. You need very loose soil, rich, loose soil to grow carrots. You definitely, it has to be loose, else a lot of loam in it, else the carrots come out deformed and stunted. It tastes okay sometimes though. Cauliflower.
Another winter crop.
Another winter crop that does very well. A lot of people that claim they have a hard time with gardens. If you don't have a lot of sun in the summer, when the leaves die is when these, so you can have a winter garden, because many of the deciduous trees leaves fall off, and you have an extra amount of sun coming that allows you to have winter crops, especially the big leafy crops like the kales and cabbages and lettuces.
Which are also very colorful.
There we go. Swiss chard is the one that they've been using a lot in landscape because of the bright yellow, orange, red, purple colors in it, and you can have it in your landscape, and you can eat it. Just go out and whack off a few of the outer leaves and come in and cook them, and it's delicious.
Good in stir-fry foods.
Stir-fry. We roast them a lot, too. Ryan's pink chrysanthemum. You're used to those little balls of chrysanthemums that you get at the stores in the fall, but this one you can plant in your garden, and it gets long and leggy, but it has massive covers of blooms when it blooms. There's a pink one and a pale yellow one that are both just lovely. The pale yellow one I think is Aura, isn't it? Citrus. We should know our citrus, which everybody has tons of, especially the grapefruits. There are lots of people with high blood pressure that you can't take the medicine and eat the grapefruits. Or high cholesterol, same thing. This is a citrus leaf miner, and it doesn't generally do too much damage to your crop. If your whole tree gets severely infested, you might have problems with photosynthesis because the leaves just can't work. But a minor infestation of the leaf miner is not bad and really won't affect your crop very much.
And it's usually the tips of the new growth rather than the mature leaves.
Right, it's the tips of the new growth that usually get it. A lot of times you can just go out there and whack them off if it really bothers you. More satsumas.
Kumquats.
Somebody needs to invent something to do with satsumas besides just eat them raw. There's so many that could be marketed, but they have such short shelf life if you could figure out something to do with it. Otherwise, this is a Kupfia. It's a tall. Most Kupfias are small. The batwing Kupfias and they have the little Mickey Mouse ear-looking things, and the cigar plant, the little purple and pink cigar plant ones. You know, we've only done 9 minutes here. Slow down. The Kupfias, that plant gets probably about 3 to 4 feet tall, and it's a nice, they're in a sought back in a landscaping. there. This was out by the mailbox at the front of the road. Daffodils. What fun. We have lots of daffodils this time of year. Are these the native ones? I mean, do these come up naturally? Narcissus, these narcissus?
They naturalize pretty easily.
Okay, because you have to look at the varieties, because some do very well down here, because many of them need a X number of cold days in order to bloom if they're going to stay in the ground, and a lot of them we just don't have it. So look for the ones that are the varieties that do well in warmer climates. Dianthus, this comes in all colors, red and white and pink and a kind of lavender and a hot pink, and they're very low growing, maybe 6 inches tall, which is great at the edge of the bed all the way around, and it gives a little pop of color on your edging. Is this the miniature dwarf bottle brush? These are like, you might have seen these where they can get tall, like 10 to 12 feet tall, with giant spirals of the brushes on them, the bottle brushes. Hummingbirds love this plant, birds like this plant, butterflies love this plant. If you want a garden for nature, this is a great plant to have. This dwarf one only gets to be about 2 feet tall. It's really nice in a landscaping plan, because it does stay green in the winter.
Nice and compact.
And it's nice and compact. It probably only gets about 3 feet wide at the most.
You see something about to bloom.
Eucharis grandiflora. You can sort of see that little spike coming up there, but I have a strange feeling that the freeze is going to knock the heck out of it.
Could be, yeah.
I have to edit my language. This is the ming fern, related to the asparagus fern. They're all those feathery ferns are in the same family. This one, if you have it in the ground, it's much more likely to come up in a protected place. If you have it in a pot, it's going to get knocked down, and it might take a very long time to come back. Mine got knocked down in the freeze last year, and it just started coming up within the past 2 months. So I'm afraid that it might get whacked again. It'll have to go in the ground. Firecracker plant, which is a Rucelia. This comes, we've seen it more likely in red flowers, which the hummingbirds like. The white flowered one is an unusual one. It's a good thing to have over an abutment where you can just have it hang down the side of it, so that it get the full benefit of its drapiness like it is here. This would be a lovely planter if you had some tall spiky things in it too, and with color it makes a very nice container growth plant. Verbena. Right, we have verbena, and a lot of verbena doesn't do real well in the winter. This one seems to be doing just wonderfully. This is over at the Master Gardener's demonstration garden, and it's doing a beautiful job. It's a great ground cover. Makes little flowers. I'm sure it blooms much better in the spring than it is in the winter, but it still is a very nice, dense ground cover that has very few problems. It'd be a good one to have in your garden, just knowing that where it is and having it planting through it and around it.
Some
a holly.
Hollies at the Hort
Center.
Center.
Lots of hollies at the Hort Center. This one was very nicely shaped into a mound.
Very well grown.
And here's another holly.
He loved hollies. He planted a lot of them.
Okay, there are a lot of hollies around the universe, especially around there. This one,
a feast for the birds.
Definitely a feast for the birds. I have a yellow one in my yard. We should have taken a picture of that one, a yellow-berried holly.
Yeah. So when botanical in Birmingham, this is a native here.
That was a native species. Yeah, but mine was a native species also. That was what you just went past was an ivy, a ruffled leaf ivy. It's a little bit of a different kind of ivy, but lovely ground cover if you want ivy and something that will grow dense and cover the ground and it stays green in the winter. Also, like most ivies. This is a Japanese maple, Japanese magnolia.
They're full of buds right now, but
Look at the buds.
survive.
Look at the buds on those. They'll be lovely in the spring. These are some Job's tears.
Yeah.
And this comes from the plant, the Job's tear, that makes these, and these are excellent for
Yeah, the
Beads and
story,
rosaries.
the pioneer people, the earlier people from Louisiana, they used them to make prayer beads out of them.
so that was the one to make prayer beads out of. So I'm sure you can also use it for necklaces too, should you
yeah.
not be into prayer beads.
Just ticky up.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
Just sticky up. This one comes in yellow too. It's a lovely little plant. It will die back completely in the freeze, but it will pop up like good in the spring, and it's easy to maintain. It has these lovely flowers, and it loves shade, so it does very well in shade. As you can see, it's right here with
Mixed
ferns.
with ferns.
And some
Nice winter
kale.
kale.
It's some winter kale. Yum, yum. This is very good roasted. You make kale chips that are just wonderful to eat.
And it's the new food.
It's a superfood.
Yep.
That and blueberries and kohlrabi,
And flax.
flax, and chia seeds.
Chia
Chia
seeds.
seeds. There's that kohlrabi. Now, I've never cooked a kohlrabi. Not
Delicious.
quite sure what you do it. How do you cook it?
Put it in. It's one of those that absorbs the flavors of whatever you put it with. It's sort of bland, it's sort of
Like
like
mulletons.
jicama or mulletons. any
I
of
think
those
jicama
things.
has a flavor. I
Yeah.
like jicama.
You
Is
can
it
also-
as dense as is it like the turnip or the
Yeah.
beet? Is it
But you
like,
can also just slice it and eat it raw too.
right?
It makes a good
kohlrabi?
it makes a good dipper because it's very mild flavored.
Very
So
good.
It's good to dip.
Do you
in.
buy them at the grocery store? You grow your? I've never seen one. Not around here for sure. Maybe Whole
I've
Foods.
grown them and
maybe.
I've bought them at the store from time to time, but
Huh.
they sure are neat looking plants. They look like they're from space.
Lettuce. Yum yum. Lettuce. Is that butter crunch?
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
That's a oak leaf red.
Another winter crop because it's
Right.
It's too
As
hot.
I
in the
said, these
summer.
lettuce, these late leafy plants are great to grow. If you can't usually grow a garden, they usually do very well in the winter. So you can have partial,
And hopefully in the winter there are fewer
Season.
insects to eat them.
yes, fewer insects. There's a whole row of lettuces. There's another little lettuce. We still have 10 minutes.
Another winter crop.
Oh, this is the loquat.
Yeah, they're
the Japanese
blooming now,
plant.
and
These are lovely trees, and they get very dense. It makes a lovely, nice shade.
It has
they
a nice-
do tend to get carried away and make more and more plants because each one of those little loquats fall off and
yeah.
sprout like crazy, but they make a wonderful jelly. If you
some
have
people-
access to these, they make wonderful jellies.
Some people like the fruit and others don't seem to, but don't spit the seeds out in your yard. You'll have thousands.
They do. Laura petulum, another little plant that's great. It comes in white, this color, it has a paler color and a darker color too. It's a nice hedge plant. And I heard that they've created a miniature variety.
My next door neighbor has a real small
dwarf variety.
one, and the foliage is almost purple, and the flowers are all dark purple.
Well, some are mine. At different times of the year, the foliage is purple, and other times it's green.
First
I'm not
comes
quite
out.
sure what it's based on. New growth is purple, I guess. This is Mahonia. This is unusual Mahonia. Usually you see the big ivy, holly-shaped leaves. This is a different one. It will make the same yellow flowers. It's just a much more delicate one. And there's a third variety. I have 3 varieties at my
I'll
house.
show this is the other.
This is the other Mahonia, the one with the yellow flowers. It makes dark purple berries in the late in the middle of summer, late summer, and the birds love this plant. They just go in there and gobble up all those things. I have one right outside my sewing window.
Common name is Oregon grape.
Yeah, Oregon grape, because the berries are shaped like grapes.
And they're purple.
They're all purple.
Really purple.
Maidenhair.
Maidenhair fungus will be dead. That freeze knocked this one out for sure.
Yeah.
But it pops right back up.
Oh, yeah,
It pops right back
It
up.
has a
Lovely
nice-
little delicate shade.
Nice plush, soft
Right.
look.
Narcissus. Here we go. Another one that, look out for the varieties that you buy, just make sure that it does better in warmer weather, because this is a lovely winter. You don't have to dig them up. It'll naturalize and you'll have big swaths of it in your yard.
And they
gets
they
carried.
smell incredible.
Yeah, lovely smell. Really beautiful smell.
This is your native azalea.
My native winter blooming azalea. But that was the one that we had at the beginning, with rhododendron something or other.
Yeah, this doesn't get, it doesn't fill into a great big mound like
It's a very
the
delicate plant.
hybrid
Yeah.
azaleas. Huh?
It's a very delicate plant, and it doesn't get very tall, maybe 2.5 feet at the most. I introduced this to the master gardeners. They start propagating it from mine.
They should. It's this
Parsley.
Giant parsley.
Another superfood. Eat your parsley. Passiflora coccinea. I don't know how to say that. Coccinea.
That's our native, I think it's our
Native
native.
passion flower.
Beautiful color.
Hummingbirds love it, and the butterflies love it too. This is a good one. It's rare to see it blooming at this time of year.
And
But there you go.
the monarchs feed on the foliage.
Right.
Nice winter
Peas,
crop.
another winter crop, peas. Look at those pea pods and those little. So, and if you want sweet peas in your garden in the spring, now's the time to plant the seeds, so that you will have your sweet peas in all those beautiful little pastel colors and that wonderful smell. It's time to plant them on your at the bottom of your trellis now. There's some more peas right there. Wonderful edible pods,
Eat them right off the vine.
as we did yesterday.
This is a nice color.
Purple,
Yellow, purple,
capsicum.
red, orange.
Right, it's a great little pepper plant. It has purple peppers and orange peppers and red peppers all in the same plant with purple leaves. It's a lovely thing for your landscaping, and you can make your own pepper sauce with
they're
it. Just
hot,
cut them,
hot.
and they're hot. At one time, we had a thing in the garden where we had all the different pepper variety and their
Before Wilson moved to Texas, we had a garden one year of peppers, 80 different varieties.
Yes, and we had all the Scoville units of how hot it was.
Yeah.
Then we had a pepper thief coming in and stealing our peppers and marketing the sauce for it.
He was making jellies.
Right. So,
Pineapple sage.
the pineapple sage.
Nice, beautiful, colorful.
It's a sage. You can use it in cooking, and it has a lovely pineapple flavor. And you can use the leaves to make in lemonades and in teas, and it's very nice. And the hummingbirds love this plant.
And if you notice this fall, when it kind of got a little bit cooler, the blooms were, mine was covered with blooms.
And it's nice to plant along your walkway so you brush against it.
And you smell it like rosemary. Take a picture of a rosemary. I'm surprised, and they're all blooming to beat the band.
Yep.
So, same thing. Plumbago, which
Nice.
shouldn't be blooming right now, and this freeze will probably knock
Yes.
this back down to the ground, but it will pop right back up in spring. It likes a little bit more sun than heavy. It does very well in full sun, but it does okay in partial shade too. Mine doesn't bloom period because it's in too much shade. And there we have a
Delicious pomegranate.
pomegranates from the seeds, and these do grow here. Nobody believes it, but they do grow. You can get pomegranates. You just have to. The weather has to be consistent. You can't have too much water or too dry at one time, because it will just either pop open or shrivel up and fall off the tree. But persimmons, pomegranates do grow here. And there's another holly, another ilex, and look at that color. Can you imagine? All those berries are just covered in gorgeous orange berries. You can run, you know what you could do is run our credits, you know, for more information, call, all kind of things, and that kind of thing. We're going to run, there's another fire spike.
Maybe I'll skip a few.
Why don't you run for more information?
Another winter crop is,
Like strawberries, yeah, we hadn't seen the strawberries. That is another one. You plant them in the fall, and by early spring you'll have strawberries if you're lucky and have sun in your yard. They have lots of sun.
and this is the smell of New Orleans at Mardi Gras, the sweet olive.
Oh, that's so olive.
But the scent
Smell is wonderful, really.
knock you out.
And that little teeny tiny, you have to look real hard to see those flowers because you wonder where the scent is coming from, and you have to go walk around. It's an evergreen, isn't it? It's an evergreen, so it'll be good all winter.
And not a fast-growing tree.
Right. It's more of a big bush, you know? I like a ligustrum. Some more fern. I just read this thing. I was at I forgot, a museum in